So it feels like we've been waiting a while for that statement performance in Liverpool to prove to everyone that they're capable of going all the way in the Premier League title race this season. And I feel like we maybe have just seen it, a 4-2 victory over Newcastle United here at Anfield. And yes, Newcastle have been out of form recently, but they're such a dangerous side. They're a side who played in the Champions League this season. They've got quality all over the pitch and have the ability to make life difficult for you. But Liverpool just absolutely blew them away tonight with an incredible performance, really. They're fully deserving the 4-2 win that they ended up with. Now, it felt early on like it was going to be a sort of a familiar sight, really. Liverpool, you've asked questions recently, and I've asked questions in some of these videos over whether they've got the clinicalness up top to truly keep this Premier League title challenge going. You know, do they sometimes need too many chances to score a goal? And when they came in from the first half, having, you know, struggled to convert the chances and also missed a penalty, you started to wonder whether it was going to be, again, a game where it's underlined that the attack is maybe not enough to get them over the line in a title race. But obviously things turned around massively in the second half. Mo Salah opening the scoring, and then even though Newcastle pull one immediately back through Isak, a good finish at the Kop end, Liverpool just blew them away from there, just creating chance after chance after chance. And that is really underlined by the XG stat that I have written down here. 7.27 XG Liverpool created in this match. Now that is a record for a single side in a Premier League game, so they've set a new record. That just shows you how much they carve Newcastle apart time and time again here, and also well. So the fact they were able to change things off the bench really told for them that, you know, they were adding goal scorers and finishers. And I think the key thing is for Liverpool here is that they weren't just making like for like changes in attack. It wasn't just a case of fresh legs. They were throwing different profiles onto the pitch. So you're swapping Núñez for Gakpo, very, very different players in terms of the way they play centre forward. You're swapping Diaz for Jota, again, very, very different players in terms of the way that they will play that left wing. One is more of a goal scorer, one is more who brings the ball up the pitch. And I think because you give Newcastle a different threat to deal with and something completely different to what they've defended against early in the game, I think that was why Liverpool managed to just completely run away with it and finish off the chances in the end, and in a really, really important win. I think what I liked most about the performance from Liverpool tonight was that they scored a lot of tap-ins. They were getting into situations where they were 1v1 with the goalie. Now, Dubravka had a great game in the Newcastle goal, some brilliant saves from him, but in the end Liverpool put themselves in so many situations where you just took the goalkeeper out of the equation. I think that's been one thing you could criticise them for recently, is not creating enough situations like that. They've been creative, yes, but they've been, some of the shots they're allowing the goalkeeper into the game almost. Whereas second half in particular, Liverpool just took the goalkeeper out, like I say, and set themselves up for tap-ins really. And I think another pleasing element is the fact that yes, Liverpool created so much, as I say, a record XG in terms of what they created tonight, but they also restricted Newcastle to 0.59 XG. Now Newcastle do get 2 goals, and I'm sure the defenders and Jurgen Klopp will be frustrated about that. You never want to concede, but ultimately they really, really restricted Newcastle's chances. So an incredibly balanced performance. They were unbelievable going forward, but in defence as well, really miserly, made it difficult for Newcastle. And you know, the fact that Newcastle score more than what you would expect from that XG is what made it a tight game at times. But really, Liverpool were in complete control from start to finish, and a really, really enjoyable performance. And one thing I want to mention before I go into the players is I also really love the energy in the pressing that Liverpool showed today. Again, they're against a Newcastle side whose energy has been sapped by the injuries that they've had recently. It's made things really difficult for them. But I just think Liverpool looked so energetic. They've come off a really difficult period where they've had to muddle through despite having quite a few injuries. And Liverpool just looked like they had the energy to keep going. I think that really bodes well that they're showing this at the turn of the year. It suggests that, you know, Liverpool are going to put themselves in a position to really get themselves on a run now and sort of prove to everyone that yes, this is our title. We can blow City away, we can blow Arsenal away, and maybe, you know, get themselves a sizable lead going into the run-in, and hopefully they can defend that. We'll have to see how that goes. I'm going to talk about the individual players as usual, and I'll start with the goalkeeper, Alisson. Now, he concedes 2 goals here today, but again, it's not really 2 goals that you can blame the goalkeeper for. It doesn't really have a chance for either. I think the one he'll be frustrated without the 2 is the Isak goal when he scores on a 1-on-1. Now, we're just so used to Alisson pulling out a save in those situations and really getting Liverpool out of jail, but the fact he can't do it every single time, you really can't put too much pressure on the goalkeeper or say that he's not done well to come away from that one without saving it. You know, sometimes some finishers are just going to maybe get lucky and get one past him, and I think that's what we saw today. But even though he won't be happy about conceding 2 goals, you couldn't put either of them on him. Now, moving to the defence and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, he ends the game with only 2 chances created really, but I don't think that sort of underlines how creative he was and how influential he was in terms of this Liverpool performance. I just didn't think Newcastle could get to grips with his passing, and his range really set things up. He got Liverpool on the front foot constantly. Just like I say, the range of his passing and the ability to switch the ball from one side to the other, to switch the angle of attack. Newcastle never really dealt with that, and I think, you know, even though, like I say, 2 chances created is not a lot, it's almost the pass before the chances created that I think Trent Alexander-Arnold was brilliant at. And he also wins 4 out of his 6 ground duels as well, which I think shows that on the defensive side he was a big part of limiting Newcastle in terms of what they did in an attacking sense. And like I said, Newcastle do get those 2 goals, but not from a low XG, and they didn't create an awful lot. So I thought Trent was a really big part of that, and he kept Anthony Gordon largely quiet, even though Gordon gets that really impressive assist. I think, you know, Trent managed him quite well, and you know, Gordon was Newcastle's most dangerous player really, but I thought Trent defended well against him. Particularly, you know, that is an element of his game that gets criticised fairly frequently, so you really should mention when he has a good game on that side of the ball, as I felt he did today. Alongside him, Ibrahim Konate coming back in, wins 6 out of his 7 ground duels, 3 out of 5 aerial duels, and it completes, most crucially I think, 6 out of 8 long ball passes that he makes during the game, which I think, again, like, you know, he's not as influential as Trent on the creative side of things, but he shows he's got that in his locker. He is a good passer from the back, and you know, a lot of the times team will try and funnel the ball to Konate because they view him as the weak link on the ball out of that back 4, but I think today showed that he does have a bit of range actually in terms of his passing, and that again helped Liverpool. They kept the pressure on, kept them attacking, and again is why a big part of why they rack up that impressive XG number. And again, you know, Konate can't really be blamed around the goals. It's just one of those situations where Newcastle have taken the chances really well. Again, I thought defensively Liverpool did absolutely fine, even though they concede the 2 goals. And similar story really for Van Dijk alongside him. I think he will be disappointed around the Isak goal. I think he slightly tries to step up just before the ball's played, and that gives Isak a one-on-one run. It's a rare mistake really from Van Dijk, and again, you know, I think other than that really he's not massively involved in the game, because as we see so often, Newcastle really try and avoid that side of Liverpool's defence. No one, you know, opposition never really try and go near Van Dijk if they can avoid it. So a quiet game from Van Dijk, but again, I think he'll be self-critical around the Isak goal. But again, I thought, you know, in terms of his organising the defence and getting him to step up, and you know, the moments when he was involved, you saw his class. He's a top player. We know how good he is, even if he's not as massively involved tonight. Just finish off the defenders now with Joe Gomez. I thought an absolutely brilliant performance from him. I mean, he doesn't really show up in the statistics tonight in terms of ground duels or aerial duels or anything like that, but I thought he was just on the cover constantly. Newcastle are always looking to get the ball quickly, move it through the pitch and get a ball in behind, and I thought Gomez was so good at being that last man, cutting across and cutting that out. You know, whenever Newcastle looked like they were about to pose a threat, he always seemed to be there on the cover, and I just think he's so good as well in terms of his ability to move the ball forward. Left back is slightly less comfortable for him than right back in terms of the angles, of course, because he's not left-footed, and I think that is going to be an issue maybe in some games, but again today, you know, no problem in terms of that. I thought he did quite well. Apologies by the way for the shaky camera work here. I just want to mention that the conditions here are absolutely atrocious. You may have seen on television, if you were able to watch the game, horrendous here at Anfield. So I'm occasionally having to grab my camera stand here to stop the wind knocking it over, and I'm still getting rained on here despite being under the cover of the new main stand. So yeah, not great conditions for a football game, but again makes Liverpool's performance and slickness in attack even more impressive, I think. Now I move into midfield, and Wataru Endo, obviously his last game before he jets off for international duty, and I thought, again, not someone who showed up really well in terms of the statistics. He only wins 3 out of 10 duels, but the ones he does win and some of the interceptions that he pulls off are really in key moments to get Liverpool back on the front foot, and he actually creates 3 chances, which again, Liverpool have so much of the ball that you need your holding midfielder to be good on the ball, and Endo has shown plenty. He's not just a guy who wins tackles, wins challenges and throws himself about. Smart sign is he's no dope on the ball. He's playing. I think again we saw that from him today. You know, he's going to be a big miss. Thank God Alexis McAllister is back to cover that holding midfield role. But I think Endo, you know, he's done so well since he's come into the team. He deserves massive praise for me. You know, a really good signing. A fantastic performance from him against the Newcastle side today. Alongside him in midfield, Curtis Jones. You know, I just think performances in a Liverpool shirt recently. I think he's really coming on in terms of his goal threat, which again I've spoken about. We saw that at academy level. Once that now translate to first team level, and we are seeing that recently. And really like to see that, getting himself into positions for tap-ins as well as showing the fact that he can score from all areas really. We saw in the academy his threat from range, and in fact we've seen it a couple of times to the first team now. So I love the fact that he's adding goals to his game, because we know what you're going to get from him in terms of on the defensive side of things, and 99% passing accuracy today comes up with the fact that he's very balance to Liverpool's midfield, and I really want to see him go on a consistent run of starting games and stay fit, because I just think he's he's key to that Liverpool midfield so far this season. Now, alongside him, Dominic Szoboszlai in that right-sided number 8 role, and I thought a sort of mixed performance. Too loose. You see him class on the ball, but then he just lets a loose pass go that lets the opposition off the hook, and I just feel like he knows that he's slightly out of form at the moment, but he still manages to create 3 chances today, so he's not a liability by any means. And some of his work on the cover and defensively as well really deserves praise. He always works to get back. He's just finding that balance in terms of getting that attacking edge back, that he's really kind of lacking at the moment, but I think it will come with time, and he's obviously showing it in training enough to keep himself in the team. So not too much to worry about, because again, it's his first season in the Premier League. He's still a very young player, don't forget that, despite the fact he's played so many senior games in his career, and he's hungry as captain, so I'm sure he'll be back to form soon. And I think there were moments today where you saw he was maybe getting back there, so I'm not too concerned about that one. And as I say, the best way to work yourself out of a tough run of form is maybe to just keep working, and Szoboszlai definitely does that. Now I'm just going to go into the attack now and start with Luis Diaz. He's had a lot of criticism for his performances recently, but I really liked elements today. I thought showed real signs that he's going to be getting back to his best really soon, which is good timing with Salah about to go away to AFCON. He wins 6 out of 13 duels, graphs as you always expect from him, but some moments where he drops the shoulder and beats his man on the outside and the inside today, which has been lacking in recent weeks really, and I think that's hugely encouraging. He's absolutely key to the first goal in terms of beating 2 men on the left hand side, finds Núñez who squares it for Mo Salah to tap it in, so absolutely crucial to that. I hope that it did seem to as well give him a lift even further in terms of confidence, hoping he can kick on after. So really excited with the fact that Luis Diaz seems to be working his way back to his best, because Liverpool, as I say, are going to need him in these weeks ahead. Now, talk about Núñez now, gets that assist. That is a cool moment from him. I like that, the coolness in the box to get his head up, not just take the shot and give Salah a really easy tap in. Want to see a little bit more of that, but I still think there's still elements of his game that are slightly frustrating. He gets 1.67 XG in this game and doesn't get a goal. Just want his finishing to be better. The one he gets first half at the Kop end, where he opens his body up and tries to beat Dubravka into the far corner, where clearly he's so central at that moment that the best option would have been to round the goalkeeper, particularly as he had momentum behind him. I just want to see that ability to finish. We know he's got it in his locker, and Jurgen Klopp always talks about his finishing ability in training. Just need to see that translate to the pitch, particularly after he got that brilliant goal against Burnley. You want to see his confidence and see him finish in an arrogant way. We're not quite seeing that consistency in his finishing, but again, he contributes, he gets an assist, he always seems to get some sort of goal contribution when he's on the pitch, and his rate in the Premier League for doing that is very high this season. So again, hopefully that will give him confidence to really kick on. I'm going to finish up with the starting 11 by talking about Mohamed Salah. Wow, what a miss he's going to be when he goes to the AFCON. He's leaving after this game, of course, and 2 goals, and which he misses a penalty first up, which again, that could sink most players in terms of the confidence. But Mo Salah, we know he's just utterly relentless, and he gets his 2 goals in the end, and an assist. The assist I want to talk about, the outside of the boot to Cody Gakpo is just phenomenal, really. And he finishes off his penalty at the end as well, to just show how much that penalty miss in the first half really wasn't in his head. He just toyed with the Newcastle defence all night. He's a world-class footballer. Liverpool's biggest problem, I think they showed so much in terms of attacking quality today, and having Jota back is massive, but Liverpool, it's going to be hard for them not to miss Mo Salah, and they really hope, even though we'd love for Egypt to go all the way in the AFCON, they'll really hope he's not away too long, because he's just so influential, and Liverpool's main man in attack still, isn't he? Another incredible performance really from him. I just want to touch on the substitutes before I wrap up. I'll start with Jota. Again, the fact he's coming back just as Salah is leaving, I think is going to be crucial. I think he's the second best. Well, I think he's as good a finisher as Salah if you put him in those situations. If you put him one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And he's just cool around the box as well in terms of creativity. I think Liverpool's second best forward for me. The fact he comes on and pretty soon after sets up Jones to tap one in. Again, just brilliant. He makes that goal. It's a 1-2 with Salah, and then a simple tap in that he gives to Jones. Just, you know, it just shows he's brilliant and intelligent around the box. And then he wins the penalty where he goes through one-on-one, and again, like Nunez, I say in the first half, should have rounded the goalkeeper. Jota, you know, he's always going to take the right option, which is either the finish or rounding the goalkeeper. Goes round Dubravka, gets clipped and wins the penalty, which Salah obviously slots. So a brilliant substitute performance from him. He's going to be massively needed in this period, so that'll do him the world of good in terms of his confidence coming back from that injury, getting an assist, winning a penalty. Massive player. Really, really love Jota. Gakpo, another one, comes on for Nunez and gets the goal. Again, I think there's a case to be made for, you know, with Nunez not necessarily massively shining at the moment, even though he's got a goal and assist in his last 2 games. There's still elements of his game that can frustrate. Does Gakpo deserve a run in that centre forward role? I suppose because Liverpool have got so many games coming up, they always seem to have so many games coming up in Cup and League, maybe those two will rotate between it. But Gakpo, you know, another brilliant performance, and I think again, he's such a different profile. I mentioned this earlier in the video, such a different profile to Nunez. It just gave Newcastle something completely different to think about, and I think he's a marvellous player. I think all these attackers all bring something different, and Gakpo shows that again by getting his tap in when he comes on and getting himself between the sticks for the finish, and you know, a key goal for Liverpool in the end. Gravenberch, one of the midfielders who came on, and I didn't think a massively impressive performance. I think he's kind of struggling for me at the moment when he's coming into games late. He seems to struggle to find the pace of the game, but he's obviously doing enough in training to show he should be coming on. But I think that's something the manager will want to get onto him at, is finding that pace of the game when he's coming on, because sometimes it can, you know, throw Liverpool off rhythm a bit. But despite the fact that he misplays quite a few passes, he's still involved in Liverpool keeping the pressure on towards the end, so can't be criticising him too harshly. But I think that is one element that he'll want to improve on, is coming on as a sub and finding the pace of the game, as I say. And McAllister, great to see him back. Great timing with Endo about to depart, isn't it, to get McAllister back, and he shows his class in that one moment where he sets up the penalty. Newcastle are pressing. He wins the ball in midfield, and it looks like he's got around 3 players around him, drops the shoulder, works the space, and then just an unbelievable pass through the eye of a needle. The gap is so close for Jota to get him through one-on-one. That just shows the quality he's got in that defensive midfield role. And you know, that's Liverpool, even though Endo, as I say, he's a good footballer, and he's got that ability to pass and fire the ball through quickly. I think McAllister's passing range is just that slight bit better, isn't it? And you know, he's bringing that extra level of quality, so really looking forward to seeing him back in the team. And he's going to have to do well, because Endo has been massive in that role recently, hasn't he? So it's a big test for McAllister to come back in, but a very, very good start to that with him coming on tonight and being so impressive. So that wraps up my views on the performances tonight, and Liverpool are brilliant, as I say, a statement performance to extend their advantage at the top of the Premier League. Really sets them up nicely for a big January where they've got FA Cup and League Cup games, and obviously they want to keep themselves ahead in the Premier League as much as they can. You know, Man City, I'm sure, are going to roar back. Arsenal will surely recover from that little blip they've been going through recently, and it could be a thrilling title race. Can Liverpool come out on top? I think today we saw plenty of evidence that they can, and I'm hoping they can build on that now. Now, just going to finish off by, of course, saying if you enjoyed this video, please do like, and if you don't subscribe, it'd be great to have you on board. So much more coverage of Liverpool to come, and as I say, a hugely exciting January ahead. Liverpool laying down a marker tonight, and let's hope they can build on that going forward. See you soon.